Silogard's different than some of the other technologies that we would run onto typically in the field, and it's a preservative. And so can you outline and just lay out for our group what that means and how it actively helps impact that forage productivity to the animal?
Sure. Well, and I think you hit on an important point. Whether you're dealing it from the nutritionist point of view or the veterinary point of view, unfortunately, I think we've reached a stage where poor quality forages, silages, and hay have just become a standard. It's a given that everybody just assumes is there, and no one really wants to deal with it directly. So we try to deal with it indirectly in other ways by rebalancing rations or trying to build up the immune systems of our animals. But reality is we're taking for granted the fact that forages are low quality, and it doesn't have to be that way. So yeah, our product acts as a preservative. And I suppose a bit of background, a lot of the products that are sold, especially in the area that Perfectus works, there's a lot of inoculants sold. And inoculants are these organic bacteria that are designed to help fermentation in silages. And that's all well and good because they do help ferment silages, but they don't have any direct effect on mold and yeast. And unfortunately, in a lot of situations, these products have found their way into the hay industry, and unfortunately, hay does not ferment. So when people talk about using inoculant on hay, the reality is we're dealing with hay that doesn't ferment. So maybe with a wrapped bale that was baled at 50% moisture, we might get some fermentation, but if we're talking dry baled hay, that's just not the case. Silogard's a bit different because it's a preservative, and what it does, it works in two direct ways. First of all, it is a mold inhibitor. It does prevent mold and yeast growth. But more importantly, it's an oxygen scavenger. And what that means is it actually binds itself to the oxygen that's trapped in our hay or trapped in our silage. So if we have a modern bale of hay, is an airtight environment. It's very dense, it's very densely packed. But within that bale, there's still tiny pockets of air everywhere. And it doesn't really take a lot of oxygen to allow molds and yeast to thrive. They need food, they need oxygen. So the food is our hay and the oxygen is trapped inside, and that's how they grow. What we do is, while we do have a direct impact on mold and yeast, it's impossible to kill every spore that's in our hay or in our silage. But if we can eliminate the oxygen in that hay or in that silage, we can prevent them from growing, because they basically go dormant. They stay in spore mode and they don't grow. So our goal, the way we develop Silogard, is the idea that whether we're talking hay and whether we're talking silage and fermenting silages, or we're talking dry baled hay, we've got to deal with the mold and yeast issue, and we've got to deal with it now. Not a week from now, not 2 weeks from now. We've got to deal with it right this minute, because the moment we cut our grasses, the moment we chop our corn, the moment we chop our wheat, that plant is starting to die. And as it dies, the molds and yeast take over. So we have to impact them as quickly as possible. Our theory is it's easier to prevent a fire than try to put it out. I can try to reduce a mold and yeast problem using my product, but I'd much rather not have the mold and yeast product to begin with. And that's where Silogard works. We're trying to prevent the problem before it starts. The other advantage, because it's a preservative, because it's a chemical, it works every time. It doesn't die. It doesn't go off. It doesn't decide not to work. It has to follow the laws of chemistry. So it has to work every time. Where our job is to manufacture it correctly, which we do, and we have a very precise method of manufacture. But once we manufacture, that product has to do what it was designed to do, and it has no choice to do anything else. When you're dealing with bacteria or inoculants, now you're dealing with an organic substance that a million different factors can affect whether it's going to work, how it's going to work, why it's going to work. And then again, as I said, with baled hay, it doesn't ferment, so we're not getting any benefit out of it.